spring. I keep wishing I was somewhere else, walking down a strange new street, hearing words that I
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Lakewood City Council, April 21st, 2017, 7 p.m. in council chambers. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Paul.
Here.
Coop.
Here.
Wickman. Nagutwine.
Here.
Franks.
Here.
Harrison.
Here.
Roybal.
Here.
Vincent.
Here.
Abel.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Shakti.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I would like to welcome all those here tonight in attendance. We appreciate you coming out and participating in your local government, and to all those who may be tuning in at home or online. I'd like to ask, if you do have a cell phone, please silence that. And we have a very special gentleman who's going to come down and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you wouldn't mind standing, and remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Zane Pearson. I'm with Troop 537. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
All right, great. Thank you. Please be seated. Will the clerk please read item 4?
Item 4, Proclamation Day Without Hate.
I'm Adam. You're not calling out.
I'm Sharon.
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Sharon Adcock. I'm a senior at Green Mountain High School.
All right, go Rams. And then before we do this proclamation, Councillor Shakti is going to read it, but we want to have Councillor Roybal show us a little modeling here. There we go.
Whereas, in May 2007, a small committee of Stanley Lake High School students and teachers formed the First Day Without Hate. Their goal was to draw attention and promote nonviolence, respect, and unity within our schools. And whereas today tens of thousands of students and community members across Jefferson County, the state of Colorado, and the nation participate in Day Without Hate as a celebration of unity, a rejection of fear, and a commitment to work toward nonviolent solutions in any conflict in our schools. And whereas we as a community are responsible for cultivating an atmosphere of tolerance among our diverse populations, and the Day Without Hate website has resources to accomplish this. And whereas by the publicity acknowledging and celebrating Day Without Hate, the City of Lakewood takes a stand with our schools to reject fear and violence and to work towards embracing our differences and promoting an inclusive, safe, and harmonious environment for all of our residents. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City Council and the people of Lakewood, I, Adam Paul, Mayor of the City of Lakewood, Colorado, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby recognize April 28, 2007 as Day Without Hate.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And if you'd like to speak to it.
So Day Without Hate has actually started 10 years ago. This is our 10-year anniversary of it. We just want to promote nonviolence, respect, and unity in our schools, and we are so honored to have the City of Lakewood help us out in this. And we just want to say thank you and help out the kids in our schools.
It's always great when we can go into our schools and you ever wonder about the future of our world, but we're in good hands because we have some amazing kids doing great things in our schools. Will the clerk please read?
Item 5, proclamation Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
And I'll invite Police Chief Dan McCaskey down and ask Council President Karen Harrison to please read this.
Thank you. Proclamation Sexual Awareness, let me start again. Proclamation Sexual Assault Awareness Month, April 2017, whereas sexual violence is widespread and impacts every person in this community, and whereas rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment harm our community, and statistics show 1 in 5 women and 1 in 60 men will be raped at some point in their lives. And whereas 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will experience a sexual assault before age 18. And whereas 1 in 14 high school and middle school students in Colorado report having been physically forced to have sex, and those who have been raped are 6 times more likely than others to report having attempted suicide in the past year. And whereas among Colorado adolescents reporting having attempted suicide in the past year, 30% report having been forced to have sex. And whereas only 6 out of 1,000 cases of sexual assaults result in incarceration of the perpetrators. And whereas we must work together to create a safer environment for all by educating our children and our community about sexual violence prevention, by proactively teaching our children that active and sober consent is a moral and legal priority when engaging in sexual activity, by supporting and believing survivors, and by speaking out against harmful attitudes and actions. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City Council and the people of the City of Lakewood, I, Adam Paul, Mayor of the City of Lakewood, Colorado, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby recognize April 2017 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Thank you very much. That's a powerful proclamation and a lot of unfortunate numbers in there, so I'd like to ask the Chief.
Mayor and Council, thank you for this proclamation. It's kind of been a difficult month with these proclamations. A couple weeks ago we were here for Child Abuse Prevention Month, and now Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention. So these are some of the kind of the cases that our police department deals with on a regular basis, and it's unfortunate. But hopefully these proclamations bring to light these subjects, and it encourages the reporting of these crimes. And it's my commitment, and it's the commitment of the men and women of the Lakewood Police Department to investigate these cases thoroughly and to bring justice for these victims and to treat them with dignity and respect, and to arrest the perpetrators. So thank you for this proclamation, and thank you for the child abuse proclamation we did a couple weeks ago. I didn't get a chance to say that to you all. So it's very important for us, and this means a lot to us and our community. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, next up we have public comment. This is the point in the meeting where the public is invited to address the City Council on items that did not appear on the agenda. All comments should be directed to the City Council. I ask all in attendance, please observe the decorum of City Council chambers and refrain from applause or audible support or discord with the speaker. There is a 3-minute time limit, and this little box up here will go green until 2.5 minutes is up. It'll go yellow, and when your time is up, it'll go red. And I will politely try to wrap you up. And before I go into public comment, I just want to make a quick announcement, because I know we have some folks who wanted to speak a little bit about parking, and there's a few things that that I just want to address before we go into that. And looks like I think March 25th we had a study session, or not a study session, but we had a ACIC report that addressed some of the parking issues and made some recommendations. We have scheduled a study session for June 5th to further examine parking issues, not only pertaining to Lakewood High School, but all of our high schools and other areas that you may have heard about where there could be issues with parking. And at that study session, you are welcome to participate in public comment. And as an update, this week a notice went out to the folks at Lakewood High School, and it has two things. There will be parking restrictions will be changed along the south side of 9th Avenue. From the driveway into the school parking lot to Independence Street, parking will be prohibited during evenings and weekends, while daytime school parking will continue. Evening and weekend athletic event and other parking during those times will be prohibited. And then the second one is parking restrictions will be added on both sides of Independence from 6th Avenue North to the existing parking restrictions. The additional signs will prohibit parking from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if those signs haven't gone in yet, they are going in. I think we had to wait for some locates, and our police will be actively educating and trying to enforce those restrictions.
The study session date again?
The study session date is June 5th tentatively, but we're pretty hopeful that that will be when we will have a kind of wider perspective of all things parking. First up, Mr. Mace, come on down. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. I'm here tonight due to a West Metro problem. First, I want to let council know that every time I call for emergency services, dispatch has a problem hearing me. I have a problem hearing them. The phone system that Lakewood has needs to be updated immediately. Now, I have talked to Councilor Abel about this, and he has informed me that the city of Lakewood is going to a different phone system in 6 months. What do we do from now until that is taken care of? And then the other issue is something the city of Lakewood must do something about Station 1. And I'm talking West Metro, because every time I call for anything, they have some serious attitude problems, and it is their job to come out and help anybody that calls emergency services. Now, if the crew that's on that night or those nights has an attitude, I'm not going to deal with it, because I'm calling for assistance. So I'm asking the city of Lakewood to step in and talk to somebody at Station 1, because this is crazy. I've had issue after issue after issue with every single crew that I've had to deal with in Station 1. So, Mayor, City Council members, please do something about this, because this is a major concern of mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mace. Appreciate you coming out. Mr. Grossman. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, council members and mayor. I'm Larry Grossman. I live at 736 Holland Street. Just following up on the Lakewood High School parking issues. I guess it could be considered a NIMBY issue for us, but not really. With the signage going in on Independence, we live one street over on Holland Street, and we're already seeing more parking issues there now. Signage has been put up halfway between 8th and Highway 6, which keeps most of the high school kids out of there. This is more of a safety and emergency access issue, I believe. When the kids leave, when they do park now on our street, we don't have any sidewalks. Most of them are walking down the street looking at their cell phones. Half the kids that are leaving Lakewood High School driving are in their cars looking at their cell phones while they're driving, and usually at a high rate of speed. The parking on our street on both sides also with no sidewalks doesn't allow access. We had a school bus that couldn't get through last year because of the cars. So just basically moving the problem over one street, some of the problems. So if it could be addressed, and it's good to hear that some things are going to be done in June, follow up on the issue. But just to make you aware that there's still going to be issues out there wherever you move the parking because of the lack of parking at the high school and the traffic. It's going to be a problem out there. Again, probably a couple dozen kids walk down our street at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, with cars speeding to and from school. That's probably the biggest safety issue, but emergency access is a big problem too. For fire engines, they can't fit through the space on the street when you have cars parked on both sides there, which if you've looked at that, you probably know. I guess that's probably the most of my concerns. We also have some issues with kids when we're walking to and from. It hasn't been tremendous. I've confronted some of them about it, but kids will be smoking. We have a big, giant cottonwood in our corner of our yard, and we've had them up in that tree smoking cigarettes, throwing cigarette butts. Some trash comes along with the traffic issues from the kids. I went to high school. I get all that. Most of the kids have been very respectful when I've talked to them about it. So just more concerns from us because we think, it's probably going to push out towards our street a little more. So if you could take that into consideration and try and help us with that situation, it would be greatly appreciated. Again, I live at 736 Holland Street with my wife, Anna Wells. We love the neighborhood. We love the high school kids. We just hope that the safety and emergency access issues can be taken care of.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Mr. Johnson. Ralph Johnson. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, and Mr. Johnson, Mr. Abel who represent me in Ward 1. I'm Ralph Johnson, 665 Independence. That's right next to the Lakewood High School, and I have a couple
Yep.
slides. Okay, street degradation at my
So, Mr. Johnson, if you could maybe pull the mic close, or
pardon?
if you could maybe pull the mic close, or make sure you talk into the mic so the folks in the audience can. No, that's okay.
Okay, this is a Google shot of my property. North is to the top. You see there, the school is. You see the southeast entrance to the school. I call it the 7th Street Gate. And of most interest is where the braces are on Independence Street. And let's say the bump sign, no parking sign, 2 no parking signs, which the city installed a couple of years ago. I'm going to show that Independence is as you know, it is a residential street. It is not not even Garrison, and so it's very difficult for vehicles to exit from the 7th Street, especially school buses, onto southbound Independence Street. As you know, we get all size vehicles there, from motor cars to sedans up to Greyhound buses, which are traveling out there. And when people illegally park on Independence Street by the bump sign, that school bus is 30 feet long, and it can barely get out of the exit onto Independence Street. There are vehicles there. And as I said, even had Greyhound buses carrying students pulling out from there, and that makes it very difficult. Okay. All right. This is a picture taken in the morning. You see you see, I took it to when the sun was low to emphasize how the vehicles illegally parking have dug out. The city had put in the milled asphalt, recycled asphalt, but the vehicles have broken it up. It's washed out. It's not so much the time that they sit there. It's the fact that as soon as the vehicle stops on there and starts up again, it's done the damage. This is all. These have some notes to them since time limitations. And what happens also is that water from irrigation, rainwater, snow melt comes north down the street, and it gets that wet. Vehicle stops. It's slushy. They tear it out. I've tried to divert it into the swale there. I get my grass watered that way, and also it keeps it away from the street, but I haven't been able to divert all the water away from the street. And the vehicles there, that's the slow time, if you want to say, in the morning, you might say, because there are not very many vehicles lined up. There are sometimes more lined up past that vehicle on the right of the screen. And in the center, you can see the bump sign right next to that student. That's important because, all right, I'll show it. Now this is a close-up of it. You can see how it's dug out the hollow, and how this, as a result, vehicles going off the edge have cracked the tar and the asphalt. This is a patch from when the builder dug a water pit, but it is also, that's the best exhibition, but it's also doing it to the left and to the right some also. And it's undermining the street and it's breaking it. This vehicle's breaking it out as a result.
Mr. Johnson, could you, I'm sorry, your 3 minutes is up. Could you just wrap up real fast?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
I have some recommendations here, and also Mr. Kirsch, thanks to him for setting this up, could not get the spreadsheet up, but the spreadsheet is a listing of incidents which I've documented, and I've had everything from, excuse me, I didn't know it was a no parking area, the sign's right there, and to a lady flipping me off.
Okay. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Warren. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Carrie Sonneborn. I've lived in Lakewood for nearly 16 years, mostly in the Iber neighborhood. We are a group of citizens that want to see the city of Lakewood live up to its growing reputation as a great green place to live and work in the Front Range. We applaud the City of Lakewood's commitment to sustainable development, which it's demonstrated in numerous ways. Just a few of these are the nationally recognized green redevelopment of the area now known as the Belmar neighborhood, the award-winning Sustainable Neighborhoods program, which has since been taken up by other municipalities, and adoption of a citywide sustainability plan in 2015. People want to live in Lakewood because of these efforts, and this is reflected in real estate prices. Lakewood is showing itself to be a leader, and we hope that will continue. In its 2015 sustainability plan, Lakewood adopted a concrete, achievable goal of generating 45% of municipal, residential, and commercial energy from renewable sources by 2025. We're very interested to align Xcel Energy's goals with our community goals. We're here to ask the City Council to do one simple, no-cost thing. Open a dialogue with Xcel about this concern by sending them a brief letter. On January 19, 2017, an article in the Denver Post criticized that city thus: a city audit of Mayor Michael Hancock's sustainability office has found it has no plan for measuring progress and achieving Denver's 2020 environmental goals. We do not want Lakewood to be reported in a similar manner. Interestingly, and perhaps in response, just last week, Denver adopted a resolution to source 100% of its electricity from renewable energy by 2030. We're here from diverse backgrounds with different perspectives on why Lakewood's renewable energy goal is important to the community. We are concerned parents, faith-based representatives, energy professionals, high school students, and local business owners. I understand that the clerk has a copy of a draft letter that we prepared and that you all have already, okay? And I hope you'll consider it for adoption today to send to Xcel Energy. Thank you for giving our group this time.
Thank you very much. Ron, you must be up next. Welcome.
Yeah. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'm a Lakewood resident. My name is Ron Horstman. I live near the Carmody Rec Center area, and I spent 15 years of my professional career in city management and utility management. And I presently serve as the Energy Services Program Manager for Western Area Power Administration, headquartered here in Lakewood. During my 15 years in utility and city management, we conducted over 60 programs in my community on energy. One of the major reasons these programs were initiated was because Lakewood shares the same reason, and that is 100% of the energy that my constituents used in my community was imported, and so every dollar that was spent on energy left the local economy. The comprehensive effort we implemented reduced energy consumption by 38% per capita. This impacted the community significantly from several perspectives. First, the programs generated a lot of community pride. Second, they increased volunteering in the community and fostered a cooperative culture. And third, the economic benefits touched all sectors and income categories of the community. The energy programs we conducted reduced the cost of energy on both sides of the meter and allowed the city to reduce the energy rates 4 consecutive years. The first rate reduction got everybody's attention. The next 3 got everybody on board. We had over 90% participation rates in some of our energy programs. Some of the benefits were expected, but the unexpected benefits were more valuable. Things like community pride, increased volunteering, economic development, and cooperative attitudes are harder to measure, but are instrumental in overall community vitality. My present role at Western Area Power Administration, we provide technical assistance to help cities and towns do integrated resource planning. Some of the cities are large, like Los Angeles, and some of them are very small, with only 100 meters. Implementing their plans and getting results requires a lot of hard work, but it also requires cooperation. I want to congratulate Lakewood for the planning steps and efforts that have already been taken with regard to sustainability. But we all realize we need to partner with Xcel to succeed. I am here today to encourage you to recruit Xcel Energy to assist us in achieving Lakewood's sustainability goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Weathers, good evening.
Esteemed members of council, Mayor Paul, my name is Sandy Weathers, and I'm a resident of Ward 3. Some of you may already know me from my work with the Sustainable Neighborhood Program. Others might know me from my work with the PTA. I actually wear many hats in this community, and today, however, I come wearing a different hat. My mom hat. I am the proud mother of 2 children, Joey and Katie, and every day I'm very saddened by the fact that current trends show that I'm leaving my kids a planet worse off than when I was a child. My son is currently 9 years old, and when I was 9, the CO2 saturation levels were at 348 parts per million. Today, that level is at 407. This is a generational increase of 17%. This is alarming and disturbing. I like to always ask myself what I can do as an individual. So I look at my household and my impact, and for starters, what I've done, I live in Belmar. I can walk to the grocery store. I walk to the park. I walk to the library. I have that access available to me. I have Energy Star appliances. I changed my light bulbs to LED light bulbs. I subscribe to a community solar garden. But at the end of the day, the reality is this is a drop in the bucket. Even if I get my neighbors on board and follow suit with me, the impact is minimal. So the fact that my actions alone cannot resolve this issue is why I stand before you today. I was very excited back in 2015 when I first saw the Lakewood Sustainability Plan. I made sure I reached out to my counselors to let them know my viewpoint, and I'm very proud to say that Ward 3 counselors supported the plan. It was adopted, and that's great, but it's time to take that next step. The next step, I feel, is to join with us, submit this letter of intent to Xcel Energy, and get the big players involved. And then we can move forward and really make significant impact. And thank you.
Thank you very much. Deacon Fletcher. Good evening, sir.
Hi. Mayor Paul, council members, good evening. My name is Mike Fletcher. My wife Donna and I live in Summit Glen here in Lakewood. I'm a deacon at Christ on the Mountain Catholic Church and a steering committee member of the Lakewood Faith Coalition. I read a story about a Jewish sage who was walking along a road when he saw a man planting carob trees. He asked the man, "How long will it take for those trees to bear fruit?" 70 years, the man said. "Are you so healthy that you expect to live that length of time and enjoy their fruit?" The man answered, "I came into a fruitful world because my ancestors planted it for me. Likewise, I am planting this for my children." Years ago, before tools like the internet and social media, we pretty much concentrated on taking care for our families and homes, our neighborhoods and communities. But with the advent of global communications, work, and travel, we share a growing awareness that we live in an interdependent world. Routine decisions here have a strong impact on other people around this planet that we call home, especially for those who are struggling to survive. The course we set for our future will also enhance or harden the lives of those who follow us in the generations to come. We talk a lot about the economic aspects of the choices that we make, but there's a spiritual dimension to all of this too, because spirituality is about relationships to varying degrees with our families and other people, with the natural world in which we live, with the Creator of all that exists. The partnership we are advocating to cultivate with Xcel Energy is an important piece of the relationships that are already being built, strengthened, and expanded here in the city of Lakewood. The city's sustainability plan, the Lakewood Linked initiative, and promoting healthy lifestyles through walking and biking are several examples of this. In his encyclical Laudato Si', Pope Francis appealed to all members of the human race to consider the intimate relationship between the poor and the fragility of the planet. The conviction that everything in the world is connected. The call to seek other ways of understanding the economy and progress. The serious responsibility of international and local policy. The choices we make will either build, strengthen, and expand, or abuse, damage, or even destroy the relationships that are important to us. The man who planted those trees understood and appreciated that. Expanding this partnership with Xcel will help grow the strong foundation of sustainability and hope already being laid here in Lakewood for our generations to come. I hope you will decide to send that letter. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Caroline? Welcome.
Good evening, council members and mayor. My name is Caroline Peterson, and I am 16 years old. I live and attend school here in Lakewood, and I firmly believe that climate change and the pursuit of renewable energy should be a top priority of our city. We've already begun to see the alarming effects of climate change in Colorado. If we do nothing, then impacts like drought, wildfires, floods, and decreased snowpack will only get worse. Globally, we are seeing sea level rise, more powerful and more frequent natural disasters, the increased prevalence of disease, ecosystem collapse, and mass extinction. These are just some of the many effects of climate change that concern me, because they are all things that will result in people losing their homes, their livelihoods, and their health. Global climate change is happening now and is already having devastating impacts around the world. My generation and the many generations to come have a right to a livable climate. We are speaking out, and I hope you will hear us. I hope we will take this important step to solidify and pursue our clean energy goals and continue to put Lakewood on the forefront of positive change.
Thank you very much. Lauren? Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Lauren Mayon. I live in the Bonneview neighborhood. I have an undergraduate degree in finance, an MBA. I've worked in business development most of my life. I'm becoming the owner of Capital Solar Energy, a small solar thermal business which has been installing solar systems for 35 years. Every year, the systems owned by our customers offset over 10 million pounds of CO2 from being released where we live and breathe. I'm raising my family in Lakewood and standing before you tonight with my children's future at heart. The National Solar Industry Association 2016 job report reveals the Colorado solar industry now employs over 5,000 people. These jobs include installers, manufacturers, managers, researchers, and many are located in Lakewood and Jefferson County. The 2016 Colorado Clean Jobs report identifies over 60,000 clean energy workers in our sunny state. This report also gives a breakdown by county, showing that almost 10,000 of these jobs are in Jeffco. With the exception of our capital city, Jeffco is the biggest county for clean jobs in Colorado, with the next county's clean jobs being half of Jefferson's. These 10,000 well-paying, growing jobs are very meaningful for our county and city's economy. Beyond 10,000 jobs, clean energy offers many other economic benefits to Lakewood. It reduces our pollution, our health costs, our insurance costs, our environmental mitigation costs. It improves the air we breathe and the water we drink. Solar panels collect the sun's energy right here, sourcing our energy within Lakewood, bringing us closer to energy independence, and keeping our revenues within our community. I'm delighted to know Lakewood's sustainability plan and its goal to reach 20% energy efficiency improvements plus 45% clean energy by 2025. Energy breaks down into 3 sectors, each of these of about equal size: transportation, heating, and electricity. For 2 of those sectors, heating and electricity, we have granted a monopoly franchise to Xcel Energy. Xcel's clean goals are currently far lower than ours. The 3rd sector, transportation, will also become increasingly electric, providing a massive energy shift and business opportunity. To reach our goals, we must engage Xcel in a cooperative partnership. We're here tonight to ask you, our mayor and council, to reach out to Xcel with a sample letter and get the ball rolling. To this effect, you have before you the letter that a group of Lakewoodians have prepared since the adoption of Lakewood's sustainability plan. We've reached out individually to staff and each council member to discuss this over the last few months. And we humbly ask that you discuss this as needed, and should you be in agreement to act, please instruct staff to finalize the letter for our mayor's signature.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don? All right, props.
I come bearing gifts.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Don Sorensen. I live in Ward 1 over by the Mofat Water Treatment Facility. And I'm here representing Citizens Climate Lobby. And we participated in the Lakewood Earth Day event that was held last Saturday, a very successful event with many people there, thanks to the sustainability team. And as a part of that, we decided that it would be very interesting and helpful to have a picture of the Earth and let the citizens sign it in support of the city's action and efforts towards addressing climate change. And this is the picture.
Very cool.
And I'm sure it has several hundred photos, or signatures, excuse me.
Want to show the audience?
Yes.
Yes. Very cool.
Some of you out here probably signed it. Okay. And I would also like to give a gift to the council, and that's a book that's recently released, written by Michael Bloomberg and Carl Pope, and it's how citizens and businesses and cities can save the planet. And it's an extremely good book. I just got done reading it, and Michael Bloomberg, of course, represents the mayor of New York City and all the creative actions that they took in conjunction with the Sierra Club. So I'll leave this with you, and if you like it, you can pass it along to your council. The last thing I'd like to ask is if possible, could I ask those in the audience here that would like to support or show their support for action against climate change to stand up?
Sure.
My.
Look at that. Except for our sustainability crew sitting down. That's great. Very cool.
So, should I leave this here?
Yeah, if you want to just give it to Ms. Hodson, that's fantastic. That's really cool. I don't know if we've ever had gifts come our way at public comment, so we'll take that for sure. TQ, Mr. Quinn. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Paul, members of City Council. I'm Tom Quinn, Ward 5. Honored to appear before you this evening on the very dais that I sat on myself, and want to begin by first thanking you for your commitment to the City of Lakewood. It's a great honor to see all of you up here tonight. I'm here this evening as a private citizen to speak in support of the request that's been made to you to send a letter to Xcel Energy asking them to expand and enhance their commitment to renewable energy in Lakewood. To briefly go back to the beginning, in 2013, we decided as a community to embark on a journey to build a better future, with the first step being creation of a sustainability plan. That was done working together with Lakewood residents, community stakeholders, and subject matter experts. We created a sustainability plan which was ultimately adopted by Council in the spring of 2015. That document, that plan, is intended as a living community document, as a roadmap to a pathway forward to a strong, healthy, and vibrant future for our community and for the world. Now the challenge before us is to fulfill the promise and the vision of that plan through its implementation. Now, you are all aware, I'm sure, of the renewable and clean energy goals established in the plan, so I won't reiterate all of those here. But in order to achieve our goals, we must have the increased commitment and enhanced partnership of Xcel Energy. And that is the request that's being made tonight. A letter from City Council speaking as one for all of your constituents would reverberate as a message from all the people of Lakewood, a request to Xcel to increase their commitment to helping us to achieve our goals. They have already been a good partner with us in many ways, but we need that partnership to expand in order to achieve the goals that have been set. You've already been presented with the letter, so I won't go into great detail about that. As brevity is the soul of wit, I will conclude by saying again how appreciative I am. I thank you for your continued commitment to building a more sustainable Lakewood, and I hope you have an enjoyable meeting tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Quinn, thank you. Chris Kraft. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for this opportunity. I'd like to start out, I'm a retired teacher and I always like to start out positive. I want to thank Charlie and Ramey from Ward 1 for going to the Jefferson County school board meeting in support of Stober. Thank you very much. And because they did that, I invited all of you to the JCEA Excellence Fund barbecue on Friday. And the JCEA, Jefferson County Education Association, offers 2 scholarships to students that will be going into education. And we have a shortage now in the state. So this is our main fundraiser. So please come, bring your family, bring your friends. The other thing I'd like to talk to you about is I made one for every 2 people, this email, and it was about a speed study that was done on West 8th Avenue where we live. So if you would just share that with each other, I'm going to talk about the second half of the email about the speed study. And we live on 8th Avenue, which is a main artery going into Lakewood High School. And the speed study indicated that there were nearly 1,700 vehicles per day. And this is on a street that has no center line and no sidewalk. So some of the road is cordoned off for sidewalk. But this really didn't give me a lot of information. It said that the average recorded speed was 25 miles per hour. And I am here just to encourage you that if you're going to take the time to do a speed study, to disaggregate the data. Tell us when the people are speeding. I know for a fact about 7:30 in the morning, if you drive by, they're going 0 miles an hour, maybe 1 mile an hour, maybe 5 miles an hour as they're dropping their children off. So I will go and visit with Tim, and I will get the disaggregated data broken down by time, broken down by speed and that kind of thing, and I will have it, and then I can share it with the people also in Ward 1. But I would encourage you, if you're going to do this, to make sure that that data is broken down. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you.
Next I have Mr. Holland. Good evening. Welcome.
Mayor Paul and all of the different ward councils. My name is Greg Holland. I live on 735 Holland Street. If you were ever to go on to the handbook for Lakewood High School, you could see a little picture of my house, because they even bring a small picture saying you can start parking your vehicles, students, at my house. And since I have lived there for 17 years, and when the school did their renovation and they have been very successful at drawing students there, I've been watching more and more students park in front of my house, and make it more and more difficult for me to get my mail, and more difficult for me to keep my the street clean in front of me. And of course, as you've heard, we have a very big problem with any emergency or large vehicles trying to get through. And we also have a little bit of an issue with speeding. It is the quickest and easiest way for students, parents, and anybody else to go from Lakewood High School through Holland Street onto 6th Avenue West. And most people are trying to get there very quickly. So without spending any more time, I just am another voice there, and I am seeing that as soon as those signs go up on Independence, there will be more students parked in front. They're usually fairly good about staying clean, and they're nice and cordial to me. But of course, this is an issue that's not going to go away until maybe Lakewood High School addresses it and produces some more parking areas, or we are able to convince families that students should not drive to school, or should carpool to school, or should walk to school if they're within a mile of school. And that's about all I have to say about it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Nancy Grishchow. Hi, good evening.
My name is Nancy Grusho, and I live in Ward 1 on Wright Street. First, a big thanks to the mayor, city council, and especially the sustainability staff of Lakewood, Jonathan Wachtel, Lynn Coppage, and Alyssa Bogan. And hopefully your names came out okay. And the countless volunteers for a superb Earth Day event. Vendors and participants were so engaged. Not only was it a lot of fun, a lot of learning occurred. I especially enjoyed learning more about the Sustainable Neighborhood Network and the Lakewoods Mont-Air Community Farm Share program, just to name a few. I'm also here to support the city having a robust discussion with Xcel on how we can move more rapidly to a mix which includes more renewables. As has been stated, we are already at a dangerous level of carbon dioxide emission, going from 280 parts per million of carbon dioxide in pre-industrial times to over 400 parts. At the current rate of growth in CO2, levels will hit 500 parts per million within 50 years, and that's probably conservative, probably much sooner than that. That puts us on a track to reach temperature boosts of perhaps more than 5.4 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a level that climate scientists say would cause bouts of extreme weather and sea level rise that would endanger global food supplies, cause disruptive mass migrations, and even destroy the Amazon rainforest through drought and fire. Furthermore, economists are on board with this. A study by the Institute for Policy Integrity at the New York University School of Law found that 84% of economists believe that global warming presents a clear danger to U.S. and global economies, with agriculture, fishing, insurance, and health and services as industries predicted would lose the most productivity as a result of climate change. And it goes on to say that a resounding 98% of economists agree that a market-based solution could achieve significant reduction in carbon emission while spurring development in a new, more efficient energy industry. We can do it. Let's start taking more steps forward. The clock is ticking. Send that letter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Corey Munt. Bless you. Good evening. Welcome.
My name is Corey Munt. I am here to represent the Coalition for Healthier Citizens of Lakewood, and more specifically, I'm here to talk about tobacco. And to be more specific, I would like retail licensing put in place because 90% of youth start smoking before they're legally able to smoke. And the best way to prevent smoking in the first place is, to stop smoking in Lakewood is to prevent it from people from being able to smoke. And that's it.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out. So I have 3 folks that signed up on the consent agenda, but I'm thinking maybe they want to speak at public comment. Mr. Shafish, do you want to speak on just general public comment, or okay on the okay? Come on down. Welcome.
And I just wanted to follow up again to reiterate my interest and desire in terms of advancing the issues and the action the city has taken. I had, if I may leave this with the city council, I took some time here to go through the franchise agreement with the city and public service company. And I noticed, this was some time ago, but that I went through this a few weeks ago, but I noticed one of the things in here, and I'll just read it briefly, one sentence. The company shall, okay, and the attorneys will, though, the company might or the company maybe will, but the company shall meet or exceed the requirements of environmental laws, regulations, and permits. So I think that to me, that's a clear message that in this franchise agreement, you have a commitment by Xcel to accept this kind of an advance that others are urging you to take. So
thank you.
That's my
great. Thank you. And you can leave that with the clerk if you'd like. Thank you. Chandra and Mike. You can come up together. Did you want to speak? Oh, I'm sorry. No, we're good? Okay. All right. Anybody else in chambers wish to speak on public comment? Here we go. Come on down. Good evening. Welcome.
Hi. Good evening. I'm Wilma Jones. I live in Ward 1, next to the Green Mountain. I'm a biker, as you can see. So one day when I was biking through a shopping mall, and I saw a customer on the electronic shopping cart carrying an oxygen tank. And you can see the tubes inserted in her nose. After struggling to move from the cart to her own car, the first thing she did was light a cigarette. I was, of course, concerned for her. You know, lighter, oxygen, driving, gasoline, it didn't mix very well in my mind. One thing I'm pretty sure is that her craving for tobacco did not develop overnight. Quitting smoking seemed is an impossibility to her. So I wondered, how old was she when she first lighted her first cigarette? Was she alone? Was her smoking with her classmates or family? Did she cough with her first inhale? The business plan of the tobacco industry is to start the smoker young and make them continue to smoke through their life. Many of you have signed contracts in your life, I'm pretty sure. Some are short-term, like employment, auto purchasing. Some are long-term, such as home mortgage. Normally, there's a clause that lets you terminate the contract at your will, one way or the other. Maybe you pay a penalty, maybe not. Have you ever had to sign a special contract that determined a life term and remain in force until, literally, till death do we part? It means that you contribute financially every day, and the ability to get out the contract gets harder and harder as every day goes by. Would you feel comfortable allowing a son or daughter or even grandchildren into such a contract? Would you let them to sign on that dotted line? We know that addiction developed in an early age is extremely hard, difficult to quit, even with all the incentives provided at current health administration. Unfortunately, many children in Lakewood do not understand these special life-term contracts that they are signing into when they light their first cigarette, especially if it is a flavored one. These new cigarettes products do not have the traditional repugnant smells. They are deceptive because they are presented in forms such as e-vapor, electronic flavored. Seems they are harmless and not the same as addictive cigarettes or substance like other substance. They do not appear to be as addictive a substance if they are available in the stores without any sales license. They are more deceptive, more appealing to the young and curious teenagers. If your daughter or son is one of those children, would you not put aside everything you do and sit down with them, go through the contract line by line, to at least let them understand the terms of the contract? This is what I and we, actually, the citizen of Lakewood, are asking the council to implement a tobacco sales license in Lakewood, as the cities of Golden and Edgewood have already done so, to make sure that the teenagers in Lakewood do not unwillingly enter into a lifetime contracts with a lucrative and powerful industry and its numerous dealers. Would you do something for them? Licensing of the sales of tobacco is the first step. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, anybody else wish to speak who didn't sign in? Good evening. If you could just give us your name and address for the record would be great.
My name is James DeAndrea, and I live at 8th and Hoyt. And nice to see you, Mayor, and nice to see you, Council. I'm back here again on tonight with the problems with Lakewood High School, and I just want you guys to understand, and I think you understand, but I don't think you understand because you don't have to live there, what we go through. But if in the city of Lakewood, if a business came into town in a residential area and took over that neighborhood with traffic all night, whether it be a bar and alcohol, it would eventually become a nuisance and something would happen. we're still dealing with a school that comes in, and I'm sure under the Murphy administration, he was aware of a lot of this, and a lot of it he was involved with or turned a blind eye. But we have no quiet time by Lakewood High School, and putting up a few more no parking signs is really not an issue. It's really a cancer. We have no home life. Our neighborhood is part of Lakewood High School. The school buses are in front of my house picking up the kids, and I'm all for climate change and all that. But you know, when school buses are in front of my house and I got to deal with the diesel from that, you know, it's far more impacting what we go through. But and I understand you guys have to listen to all of us people in Lakewood, and I know it's a big job. But if any of you have ears tonight that are open, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, come on down. Good evening, welcome. Give us your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Michelle Brower, and I live on 9th Avenue across from Lakewood High School. I would rather be talking about the environment tonight, but I'm going to be talking about Lakewood again. I appreciate the interim parking policy that's being set up, but I'm concerned that it doesn't address the games during the week that go on all summer. And I did have some pictures of one of the events that took place over the weekend where there were hundreds of people. There was garbage all over the street. There were people smoking all over the street. So I'm hoping that that gets included for the summer months as well. And I have to speak to the speeding. It's been really bad this year. And this afternoon I got home. I went to let my horses out. Some kid in a giant truck without a muffler came down Independence, came up my street on 9th, startled my horses to the point where they were kicking and bucking, and I was right in the middle of them, and it just took my breath away. I look up on the corner by Independence and 10th, and the guy who lives up there had stopped a bunch of kids in cars, and he was going absolutely ballistic. Once that quit, there was another pickup that came speeding off of 10th down Independence. I ran to the front of my house and I pointed at the kid because he was still speeding. He just turned and smiled at me. And then another kid came out of the parking lot speeding. I yelled at him to slow down and he flipped me off. So I'm just giving you a little picture of what goes on there on a daily basis. And I don't feel this is the problem of Lakewood Police. I'm really tired of them being burdened by this whole mess. So
thank you. Anybody else? Come on down. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm Brian Weishar from 9500 West 9th Avenue. I've been here before, and thank you again for letting me talk to you. As you see, the picture in front of you is where Greg Holland's house is, 735. This is the map that Lakewood High School puts on their website. It's publicized. It's encouraged. Anything in yellow is where they can park. I've asked the administration from Lakewood High School to take it off. They have not complied, and it continues. So I just can tell you I'm sorry that it goes on deaf ears. And I've asked the me and Ward 1 have asked the people at Jeffco, the board, and we said if you need places to park, because the parking issue is such a bad situation, this is some of the parking that is on the west side of the parking lot. And you can see the length of it there. Off to your right there is the parking area with the lights. That's the length of it. That could be probably 200 cars. There's just another side of it. There's a little bit more. This is a gate on 8th Avenue coming in. This is the very corner of that. Up there is a car wash on the very top. There is a business on the other side, and there's lots of cars right there. And we need some parking signs in that area. I'm very thankful that you're doing the Independence, but we need some more signs in some of the other locations. As you see, the parking lots here are not that filled. They tell us they're completely filled. They have no more spots for students, and students don't either want to pay the price of $150, so they tend to go out into the neighborhood. Some more spots that don't have any cars in them. And that's that spot again that is the long corridor where we suggested to the board of Jeffco Schools to put parking in there. This is a shot from Greg Holland's house at 735 with the trash truck. I didn't have a picture of the school bus, but you can see the distance between there. Barely can get through. It's just, and if we have emergency vehicles, I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. And this is Holland Street. This is the street we'd like to see more signs on again. And then what will happen is they'll go to Garland, which is the next street over. Again, this is looking down south from where the trash truck was sitting, and the cars are solid through there. And let me just conclude. I thought really myself that I think what really should be done, and I thought of this when I was sitting there waiting to come in here, I think we need to have all the players come to the table. And I think that the council, I know you're going to have your parking study on June 10th, but I think what we need to do is bring Lakewood High School administration, maybe not even them, but maybe Bear Creek High, maybe Alameda High School, those people, because we got problems in those areas also, not just the Lakewood High School. I can't speak just for Lakewood, because this is an overall Lakewood problem. Bring the administration, bring the Jeffco School Board here, bring an independent monitor from Jeffco County. They'll come in and make sure that there's a solid dialogue between everybody that's there. And then some of the residents ask us to come too. And I think in the council with the mayor, and I think if we do this, I think maybe we can come up with some solutions. It's been 5 years that we've been fighting this in the parking issues. And I know you've got some situations with condos and apartment complexes where builders don't have enough parking issues. That's part of your parking issues also. We need to maybe expand that to from 1.5 to maybe 2.5 or something. Maybe the regulations have to be changed. I think that's where Lakewood High School, Bear Creek, Alameda looked at this and they said, well, we only have to have 1.5 cars. So why should we have any more? And that's why there's no parking for the kids to go out into the streets and burden us, the residents. Please take a real hard look at it on your study session on the parking. I know you will. I know you'll give us the best you can. And I want to thank the Ward 1 people for standing up and helping us immensely. Ramey Johnson, Charlie Abel have been just immensely helpful in trying to put the fire out, what we're doing in Lakewood.
Great.
I thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. I will now close public comment. And thank you to everybody who came out tonight for public comment. It was a fantastic group, a lot of great speakers and great passion. So that was fun. I enjoyed it. And a couple things. Looks like Mr. Mace left already. Is he back there? We'll figure out what's going on, and of course get back to you. And then have some more thoughts for our Earth Day celebration, and we'll wait till a little bit later for that. But I do want to also touch on the tobacco. That's something that council looked at the retreat, and we just got in all of our responses to a survey, and that'll help us decide how we're going to move forward or what that looks like moving forward. And then I am glad to sign this letter, and I certainly will. We are members of the Mayor's National Climate Action Committee and also Climate Compact of Mayors. So I am glad to forward this and sign this letter, and I welcome any council members who would like to join me in signing this letter. It's pretty straightforward, and just ask XL to have a dialogue with us to meet our goals, which are super important. So thank you all for that willingness to come out and share a well thought out presentation with us. Councillor Gutwein?
Thank you. This is exactly why I love my job, is when we have nights like this and such passionate people coming out on really important issues. This is such an important issue to me, sustainability and climate change. So I am proud to sign this letter with Mayor Paul, and I really appreciate the leadership from our citizens tonight. So thank you very much. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Ms. Shakti?
I think that the citizens organizing and communicating with local government is essential for local government to work. So I'm excited tonight that we have people coming to talk about multiple issues and important issues. I'm excited to move forward on the youth tobacco licensing. I think that's an important issue. And I'm excited to have the parking conversation. It's complicated, but important to move forward. And I'm excited to have the conversation about reaching our sustainability goals. And I really appreciate, I think this is really a reasonable, balanced letter that tells Excel that we want to reach our community goals and that we want to do it with them. And so I'm excited to sign on, and I think a lot of people on council will be excited to do that, and we can progress, and we're progressing in a variety of different ways, but that you and the community are keeping an eye on what we can do better and holding our feet to the fire is essential. So thank you.
Great. And before I move on to the consent agenda, I would just say one thing too. NRail is a very important part of our community, and while they may not be directly in the city of Lakewood, they provide a lot of primary jobs, innovation, technology, things that we can really be proud of. And I think by supporting this letter, we show further support for a laboratory that means a lot to our whole state. So I'm really excited. Thank you guys very much. Next up, we have the consent agenda. The use of the consent agenda has been made to expedite council action. It contains both resolutions and first reading ordinances, which tonight there are none. It's just a resolution. Resolutions are items of a routine nature. Members of the public will have an opportunity in a moment to comment on any of the proposed resolutions. Any council member may request an item on the consent agenda to be removed for separate discussion and action under general business. Will the city clerk please read the items on the consent agenda into the record?
The consent agenda consists of items 7 and 8 only. Item 7, Resolution 2017-19, authorizing a revocable license agreement to allow the placement of artwork in the West Alameda Avenue right-of-way. Item 8, accepting minutes of the Advisory Commission for an Inclusive Communities Executive Committee meetings of January 4th, February 1st, March 1st, all 2017, as well as their full commission meetings of October 19th, 2016, January 18th, and February 15th, both 2017.
Ms. Greer, you scared everybody away. I'll now, I'm going to open the public comment on the resolution 2017-19. Nobody's signed up to speak. Anybody in chambers wish to speak? Seeing none, I'll close public comment and ask for a motion.
Mayor Paul, I move for the acceptance of the minutes of boards and commissions for the adoption of resolution, all which are included in the consent agenda items introduced into the record by the city clerk.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Any conversation, questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And the consent agenda passes 11 ayes, 0 nays. Will the clerk please read item 9 into the record?
Item 9, Ordinance O 2017-7, approving sole source purchase in excess of $50,000 of auto theft task force vehicles and a supplemental appropriation to the 2017 annual budget.
Great, thanks. I will now call down Commander Greenwell, who has prepared a 2-hour presentation for us, I think. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. First of all, I really want to thank you all for what you and the rest of the city and the staff of the city does for the Metropolitan Auto Theft Task Force. I know some of you know, I'll throw out some acronyms, so I want to explain what those are. The MAT team is the Metropolitan Auto Theft Task Force. But what I don't think a lot of people realize...
Pull the mic a little closer.
I'm sorry. What I don't think a lot of people realize is the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes that the city of Lakewood actually does for the entire metropolitan area. From City Council being our governing body and taking care of our fiscal responsibilities for the task force, to the city manager's office, the city attorney's office, the city clerk's office. I mean, it goes on and on. Finance is huge for us in the task force and trying to make sure that everything in the budget lines up. So first of all, I want to give them and you all kudos for that because it is a huge responsibility. And the CAPPAW board, I'll explain that in a minute because I know it's another acronym, is really very appreciative of the city of Lakewood taking this endeavor on for the entire metro area. So I just want to give you a little bit of history here. Back prior to 2008, insurance companies in the state of Colorado, some of them kicked in some money for law enforcement agencies to get together and work on the auto theft problem that was growing by leaps and bounds clear back in 2007. Then in 2008, the state legislature adopted what is the Colorado Auto Theft Prevention Authority, CAPPAW. And what that is there for every personal vehicle liability policy, and I know some of you work in the insurance industry, so you could probably talk leaps and bounds over me, but there's $1 that the insurance companies provide to the state for this fund. Right now it's about $5.5 million is what the entire state brings in for that fund. The state is broke into different areas, and the metropolitan area, which is the judicial districts within the metro area, is called Gold Camp. And in Gold Camp, our budget is approximately, this year it's $2.3 million. The agencies involved in that are Lakewood, Denver, Wheat Ridge, Jeffco, Arapahoe County, Aurora, State Patrol, Adams County Sheriff, the Attorney General's Office, the Colorado Information Analysis Center, and the National Insurance Crime Bureau. And those are just the ones who have people dedicated full-time to it. We also have every other agency in the metro area. We have liaisons that work directly with their agencies, so this is an entire metropolitan thing. From 2009, 2010, the MAT team that we're all familiar with was formed. The city of Lakewood took it on. You took it on as the fiscal agent back then, and until 2016 it operated here in the city building. In 2015, the CAPPAW board said, you know what, we've got three of these things going on in the metro area. No more 3 separate ones. We want them all combined into one. Then it became the CMAT. So technically it's referred to CMAT for the CAPPAW Metropolitan Auto Theft Task Force. Now you know why I use acronyms. So in last July 1st in 2016, CMAT was formed and we began operating, and I became a commander of that. The city of Lakewood took on the fiscal responsibilities for that. One of the things that I saw is that for the past 7-8 years, all of the vehicles that CMAT has been using have not been replenished, and there's been no succession planning or replacement plan for those vehicles. I went to the CATPA board. I got approval to use some excess personnel costs that were already in the budget, but we needed additional funds, so they granted an additional $160,000 in new money to my budget. So that's already been approved and appropriated by the state, by the CATPA board. What's now required from the City of Lakewood, the City Council, is approval through that ordinance of expending those funds for that. The other part to that I've asked for is a sole source, and normally I'm not a sole source person. I like putting things out for bid. But in this particular situation, we have to have these funds expended by mid-June so that we can have everything taken care of, because the state's budget starts July 1st, and we have to have everything expended by the end of June. So I'm kind of in a time crunch here to get things done. But first of all, when I have 9 different agencies that I'm trying to buy different vehicles for, I need different makes, models. I need, they all have different requirements for their agencies. So I've got 7 or 8 fleet managers who are coming out to look at vehicles. I need one source, one location where we can send these people to. The other issue is when it gets into titling, while the City of Lakewood is providing the funding for that through the state money, these vehicles will be titled to those respective agencies. So now we have 7 different agencies these vehicles will have to be titled to. There's the dealer handling issues, and then the past experience. In the past, we've used Automotive Avenues here in Lakewood because of the varieties and types of vehicles and just the reputation that they have of us being able to work through them. So my request is not only to be able to expend that additional $160,000, but I'm requesting a sole source purchase through Automotive Avenues here in Lakewood.
Thank you very much, Commander. Any questions for Commander Greenwald?
Just a clarification. You said that the City of Lakewood has fiscal responsibility for this. So I want to make sure that everyone understands what that means. That means we take care of the money for everybody, but it doesn't mean the City of Lakewood is funding all of the cost for all of this, correct? Am I?
That is absolutely correct. The state provides 100% of the funding for this. The state is simply the agent who passes that money from the state, puts it in the city's account, the city expends it, and we have to then show the state how we've expended those funds. So it's not anything out of the City of Lakewood's budget itself. Thank you.
Councilmember Franks.
I just had a quick question. I know you talked about the sole source, and certainly there's a ton of benefit in that, but I just wanted to make sure that because we've had a relationship with this company in the past, they been shown to be competitive as far as overall pricing in addition to kind of factoring in the service aspect? Yes, and
thank you for bringing that up. That is another one of the purposes of going to them, is we can look at the vehicles and we can tell them this is how much we've got, this is the number of vehicles we've got, and pardon me, and in the past they've always been able to meet or exceed our expectations in the pricing, not just the quality of the vehicle.
Absolutely, and that's just what I wanted to stress to folks, that it wasn't just some picking and that somebody was thinking, well, you're giving your business to the buddy or somebody who's got a high price and going to have a high margin, that we have experience with them showing that they're both competitive and that there's a cost savings in being able to centralize that purchase.
That's
okay,
correct.
Thank you.
Councilor Shakti.
I just want to clarify sort of the background. My understanding is both that there have been significant thefts recently, which is to say we need to have an effective task force, and also that we have had some pretty significant successes recently.
Yes. Unfortunately, auto theft is up. It continues to go up in 2015. Auto theft just in the state of Colorado was up approximately 30%. In 2016, it was up almost 20%. In the metro area, is 18%. The good news is that as part of the auto theft task force, we actually have just under a 90% recovery rate of those stolen vehicles, which we have a lot of states calling and saying, how the heck are you guys doing this? Because 90%, almost a 90% recovery rate is almost unheard of. So we do take pride in that. I think the thing that we take pride in most is the relationships and the liaison aspect that we have with every agency in the metro area throughout the state. We have people we can call, and it's the networking that helps us solve these, because it's not the lone wolves. The guy doesn't get up one morning and decide, hey, I'm just going to go steal a car, and that's the only time he ever does that. There is a criminal conspiracy, an organized crime aspect to a lot of this, and we're not talking the mafia and the syndicates and things like that. We're talking, but there are groups out there who do go out and try to steal as many vehicles as they can. And the term we use is that it's for profit. They're using them in other crimes, robberies, burglaries, drug deals, things for them to make money as well. And the other thing that I'll throw out since I've got this is a lot of studies have shown that if we really want to have an impact on auto theft, we could reduce it by more than a third if the owners or the drivers of vehicles would take the precautions themselves to secure their vehicle. So,
yeah. Thank you for that plug. No,
any chance I get.
Yeah, no, that's important. No, thanks, Commander. We're very proud of this project and proud that we're able to help facilitate it. So thank you to you and your team for all your hard work. And
thank you, City Council, and all the city employees for what they do.
Great. I'm going to now just open the public comment on item number 9. Nobody's signed up to speak. Anybody wish to speak? Seeing none, I will close public comment and ask for a motion.
I move for the adoption of ordinance 2017-7.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And that motion carries 11 ayes, 0 nays. Go buy some cars. Will the clerk please read item 10 into the record?
Item 10, Ordinance 2017-8, authorizing a supplemental appropriation to the 2017 fiscal year to fund detoxification services through Arapahoe House until June 30th, 2017.
Thank you. Good evening, gentlemen. We'll start tonight with Chief McCaskey.
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council. I'd like to introduce Dennis Goodwin. He is the Director of Justice Services for Jefferson County, and he's also a retired Lakewood police agent. So, back. So thank you tonight for speaking with us. We're here to request funding for withdrawal management facilities. That's the technical term for detox facilities. If I say detox, I don't mean to be offensive, but that's sort of what we've always called it. But the appropriate term is withdrawal management. So Arapahoe House is the organization now that currently has 3 facilities throughout the metropolitan area. We have one in Wheat Ridge that services Lakewood, and they are closing all 3 of these facilities on June 30th of 2017. So in order for them to stay open until that date, they have requested funding in the amount of $259,000 from agencies in the 1st Judicial District. So this would be divided up amongst the county and the municipalities. Our portion would be $60,840, and that's, again, based on our population. One thing I wanted to point out is the City of Lakewood, the Lakewood Police Department, is the biggest user of these facilities, withdrawal management facilities or detox services in Jefferson County. We average over 900 admits per year to this facility, so we are by far the biggest user of those facilities. And one of the things that these facilities, too, just to give you a little background, they're used for mostly non-criminal type people that we contact when they're intoxicated and they're a danger to themselves or they're a danger to others. A lot of times we'll use these for domestic violence cases where there's actually been no crime, but one of the parties is intoxicated, and we'll use it. We'll put them in protective custody and take them to detox. Some of the criminal things we use them for are DUIs. A lot of times when we arrest a DUI, we'll take them to detox and lodge them there. Just so we don't fill the jail beds with DUIs, and plus this is a good place where they just sober up and then they're released the next day or so when they're sober. So we really rely on these facilities for a lot of the things we do. The jails and emergency rooms can't handle the number of people that we bring in, and like I say, you can imagine over 900 a year. That would quickly fill up a jail or an emergency room. Then starting July 1st, the Jefferson Center for Mental Health is going to be taking over these facilities, and they're going to take over at least the one up in Wheat Ridge. And we don't know exactly what the funding amount for that will be for us, but they've requested funding, and our plan is to handle that through the 2017 revised process, and then in 2018 we'll just make it a line item as part of the police department's budget. So these are really critical services for the police department to use, and I'll turn it over to Dennis if you have anything to add before we take questions.
I think just what I would add is all the cities are involved in this, and we actually got the hospitals to contribute. So St. Anthony's and Luther Medical Center are contributing to not only this first 6 months, but have committed to ongoing support. So that's encouraging. They got bigger pockets. Don't know how much we'll get to access, but having them at the table is really critical when they recognize the need for this. Jefferson Center for Mental Health taking this over, I think, is a really good move for the county. It'll provide a better service. We'll have more input into that service, and also they may be able to offset some mental health services in the same facility. One-stop shop is their vision. It's not going to happen in July, but that's the goal overall.
Yeah. So thank you. Looks like there will be some questions. And to that point, I think with the county Jefferson Center participating, we should be able to have better stats, better statistics on what's going in, who's going out. My understanding is if we don't have a detox facility, which has already been somewhat of a struggle sometimes when we don't have a place to take them, but we either stay with them till they sober up, or we try to get a relative to pick them up, or if we take them to a hospital, we have to stay with them until they're admitted. So it's really, once we have this situation, we're kind of in the chain of custody and on the hook until that person is in safe hands. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir, that's correct. There's a lot of liability that comes to the police department and to the city when you're dealing with intoxicated individuals, because if you don't handle them appropriately and make sure that they're taken care of, we face a lot of liability as to what their actions are if they're released from us.
And other communities have already signed on, is my understanding, but we're the only one above 50,000. That's why it's before the body.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. And lastly, we will, as a full body, have a further update from Dr. Harriet Hall, who is the executive, the CEO of Jefferson Center, at our Commissioners Council Members Breakfast, which Lakewood is hosting. So that will be a further update, and that's May 4th. So that's going to be May 4th here at the City of Lakewood. And Harriet Hall will be here to talk about this whole program and what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And again, I'll just reiterate that we will see the rest of the ask in a supplemental request through the revised budget process, and then we'll go forward from there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Councilor Franks.
Good evening. Mine are more of comments. I wanted to thank you guys. I rarely do that from the dais, but my family's personally touched by alcoholism, and you guys find people at the lowest moments in their lives. They're confused, they're impaired. And I agree with that transition needing to happen from law enforcement into another environment, because that can be something where it's a trigger in and of itself. So it's good to get those folks into others' hands where they can work with them. And I love this new mental health aspect of that, because just getting somebody sober is really just the first step into other alternatives. So thank you for the really good work that you do. This is a vital program for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Johnson.
I am very happy to support this. After doing a ride-along with the police department, I've seen firsthand your need for this facility, and it's totally appropriate that we're involved in helping to pay. Thank you. I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.
Councilor Shakti.
I agree. I think that one of the questions the community has asked historically is, does it make sense for the city to give money to nonprofits? And I think this is a great example of where we are really benefiting as a city from what both the partnership with the nonprofit and with the other cities offers us. So it's great to see that we've all been able to come together. And I was really worried about the June 30th deadline until I heard about the new facility opening. So thanks for all your work on this.
Thank you. Yes, and Councilor, we were pretty, I don't want to say panicked, we were pretty concerned if there was going to be no withdrawal management facilities. I mean, it's as I say, 900 admits per year. We really rely on their services, so it's a big thing for us, the police department.
Mayor Pro Tem Harrison.
Thank you. Excellent presentation, and I'm thrilled to support it as well for a couple of other reasons that everybody else. This is the appropriate place for the treatment. Hospitals, even though they can help detox, the reality is that is the most expensive place, the most expensive bed for someone to come off of alcohol. It's much better for it to be in a facility, as we're suggesting here, so I'm happy to support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Goodwin, thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you.
I will now open the public hearing on Ordinance 2017-8. Nobody's signed up to speak. Seeing nobody in chambers wishing to speak, I'll close public comment and ask for a motion.
I move for the adoption of Ordinance 2017-8.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. And that passes 11 ayes, 0 nays. Thank you. All right. General business, I have nothing. Executive report, Ms. Hodgson.
Yes, thank you. Just one quick reminder. Next Monday, May 1st, we're actually having a tour of the 11th Avenue Head Start program. Starts at 5:30. I believe we're gathering here at City Hall, but we'll make sure to give you information by email before then so you know all the details, and it should be really interesting. The Head Start staff is very excited to host this tour, so thank you. And that's it.
All right. So I just would like to comment, give an update, because I know folks are really getting excited about the Colfax Marathon that's coming. Our team has taken a different approach, and we are all going to participate on Saturday's fun run, 5K fun run. So while we will not be actually running the marathon relay, we will be there the day before to support all the good work. And the nice thing is you can go at whatever pace you want. So if any other council members would like to join us, Councilor Wickman, for the 5K fun run the day before, which I think is
after 11 o'clock in the morning.
That's right. If it was at 11, you probably would be there.
I'll get up at 10.
But that should be a good time, and I know as we get closer, Two Creeks neighborhood will be out cleaning up Colfax prior, and that's always a great event if you want to go out and see what really happens on Colfax and pick it up. That's a nice opportunity, and they do a great job of that. Earth Day was fantastic, and our sustainability folks left, but 3 people in that group, and the program that they put on and the event and the amount of folks there, it was unbelievable. Great vendors, beer garden, and I just want to tell them what a wonderful job. I got a lot of great feedback from folks who were there and had the opportunity to learn about things they had no idea of what was going on in the city and things like that. And we did some other fun things, but I'll let Councilmember Gutwein elaborate on that. Mayor Pro Tem Harrison?
I just wanted to say I participated in the e-cycle. I got to help people through the line there, and that was phenomenal. The city of Lakewood should be really proud of all of the e-cycle stuff that went elsewhere and not into the landfill. I know of at least probably 3 big truckfuls, if that's proper English, say whatever you want to, went out of e-cycle stuff and away from someone's basement, garage, whatever, and not in our landfill. So that was phenomenal. It was really great. And Dana, are you going to talk about Green Gables? Okay, thank you. I'll let her tell that.
Council President Roybal.
No report.
Councilor Shakti.
I don't know if this belongs here, but the letter that we were talking about earlier, I don't know the process for that exactly, but I hope it's timely. So it seems like we can all sign it pretty quick and send it out. And then I also wanted to say that for Comcast Cares Day, the employees came again to the Boys and Girls Club, and they helped the kids build bicycles that then they got to keep. I don't even totally know what that means, but it sounds really cool.
Thank you. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Unfortunately, I missed Earth Day, and I'd like to explain why. I was asked to be a judge for the State High School National Debate Runoff. And the debate that I listened to, the students were debating the idea of a popular vote versus the Electoral College. And I have to tell you, we're in good hands. I learned a lot, frankly, from listening to what these bright students were saying, and you can be proud of the students in our high schools statewide.
Very cool. Councillor Abel.
No report.
Councillor Vincent.
No report.
Councillor Franks.
And just a couple things. I know most of the people in the audience have left, but I just wanted to say how uplifting it was to see such participation. And just had to brag a little bit. My e-bicycle had its maiden voyage this weekend. Power assist up Green Mountain was awesome. So, and I did want to comment on this letter. I certainly want to sign on to it. I would like the last sentence of the letter to be changed to be a little bit more accurate. But other than that, if we could determine what that process looks like to sign that, I think it's always a good thing when we open up dialogue. Want to assure people we're not committing to things, but it's important to get that dialogue opened up to find out what's possible. And I think if you don't ever ask, you don't get. So you kind of want to keep pushing folks forward. And as somebody who believes in recycling and composting and all these other things, I think it's important to broaden that discussion, because I agree with the woman speaker earlier that individuals, it's just hard to make enough of a difference. We really need to look at this a little bit more as a community and figure out what's right for Lakewood. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gutwein.
Thank you. I have a couple of things to say. So first, I really regret that I didn't thank Chief Makowski when he was here for all of his service. We are so lucky to live in such a safe city, and I really appreciate everything he does. And I think that Earth Day was the best Earth Day yet. There were so many people there. It was just really inspiring, and I felt so much pride for the city of Lakewood and everything that we've been able to do, and really reflected on a lot of what we've accomplished in the last few years. So I just want to thank all of city staff, and especially the sustainability department. We have a lot to be thankful for here in Lakewood. And then the community garden in Green Gables. So we also had the community garden grand opening, and I can't really describe the feeling of standing in a place that was an empty field where weeds and grass could barely grow. And, we imagined what would this be like if this was a community garden, where kids could grow healthy food and they could have an outdoor classroom and the neighbors can come. And after years and years of hard work and a lot of collaboration, we had the grand opening, and there were more people than I could have imagined being there. The first and second graders sang a song about gardening. I cried. It was so cute. And it was just really amazing to see what we can do when we come together. And the city of Lakewood was really instrumental in making that happen through the neighborhood participation program. So it's just a great way to celebrate Earth Day. And I also want to thank Councilor Karen Harrison and Mayor Paul for coming and being there and supporting it from the very beginning. So, yeah, great Earth Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Wickman.
I have some questions about this letter. As a committed environmentalist, my first instinct is to hop right on board. However, as I've said over the years, I'm constantly concerned about this question about the ends justify the means. And I've said over and over again, I'm tired of these surprises where I show up at the meeting and I've got to sign something right off the bat. And as an intellectual analyst, there's always two sides to every question. Now, in this particular one, I can't think of another side, and so I can't come up with any objection. But the point being, there should have been an opportunity for somebody to give another side if there was one. It's analogous to me as when I go into the grocery store, people are having petitions. Here, sign this, petition me. And if you get to one side, I agree with the one side, and then later I realize there was another side. And so I'm concerned with this process of, once again, here I am trying to force to sign something on the fly.
So I would just comment on that. You're not forced to sign anything. This
Well,
was
I want to,
Okay.
but I want to do it right. I don't want this pressure that, I mean, at least you didn't make us stand up this time. But, it's like this bit about, Dave, you got to get on board. Well, I'm not a get on board type. But on the other hand, if it's right, I do want to be on board. And right now it looks like it, but like I said, I don't have that confidence that I wish I'd been given a little advance notice. Enough said.
So I would just say this isn't a staff-driven issue at all. This was the community, and I think they sent you their email earlier in the week. So I would encourage you to reach back out to the folks who are here tonight and talk to them about it. But certainly no pressure. It's just like anybody else coming to public comment and asking for anything else from council. Councilor Coop, nothing. So what I'll do is I will ask for any kind of edits that you would like to make, and Councilor Wickman, find out any questions you might have, and I will get a final draft, sign it, and put it in everybody's box. And if you want to sign it, that's great. If not, that's fine too.
We haven't had a chance to review that letter either. So, Councilor Wickman, I appreciate your comments, and we would like the opportunity to do a legal review, just to have that.
I'm just checking my email. What day did that come in?
I think it came in last week, maybe last Wednesday or Thursday.
So we would like to do a legal review and then allow and look at whatever edits and just make sure that's all good, and then ask for your signatures if you're interested.
Yeah, certainly. Anything else, Ms. Greer, Ms. Cox? All right. Well, thank you to everybody. Agent Kimmy, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. And we are adjourned at 8:46 p.m.
When she